Chapter
NK
461, Intermediate Danger Sense.
Spring on Huynh Noyet Island was cool, at night they still needed warmth.
Van Han and the Lu sisters sat together, hands shaping clay. They wanted to make a pot and a jar. Van Han, is it high enough?
Lu Mong tilted her head to ask. Before her was a clay jar, almost the same size as the old one.
Yes, just narrow the mouth a little,
Van Han said softly.
Got it. Lu Mong answered excitedly and kept shaping the jar.
Lu Thursday and her sister made a water cauldron. If it could be fired tomorrow, it meant they could bathe with hot water.
Crack, crack.
So Phong sat nearby, carving bamboo with his chopping knife. Tonight he wanted to finish 2 bamboo beds. He laid the bamboo boards together, tied them with rope, placed cross planks and fixed them, finally tied them to the frame. A bed was done.
He spent another hour to finish the second one.
So comfortable. He dropped the knife, lay on the bed, eyes gazing at the starry sky, quietly resting. After a short while, steady breathing came. He had fallen asleep. The girl looked at his sleeping face, her heart ached. They had endured nearly 90 days in the wild. He worked too hard.
Is So Phong asleep? Lu Mong whispered.
These days he must be exhausted.
Lu Thursday sighed. Yes, without him I would not know what to do, Van Han said with emotion.
Lu Thursday held her hand and said sincerely, so lucky to meet you all.
Lu Mong hugged her and laughed. Together we will strive for the top 3.
Late at night, a streak of light crossed the sky. Time passed silently.
Chirp, chirp. Morning sun shone on Huynh Noyet Island. Birds sang in the forest. Ah ah.
So Phong opened his eyes, raised his hand to block the sun. He froze, then hurried up, lifted the cloth, only then remembered he had fallen asleep. He put on shoes, stretched in the sunlight, turned to the shelter and saw the 3 girls squeezed in one sleeping bag.
Sleeping like that is not crowded? He chuckled.
He tiptoed to wash at the stream. Afterward he clapped his hands and muttered, must dry it another half day.
Last night the kiln finished when it was dark, no sunlight to dry quickly.
He went across the stream, gathered a pile of dry grass. Today he needed to mix more clay. The grass pile caught fire quickly, smoke rose.
Van Han crawled out, rubbing her sleepy eyes, asked gently, So Phong, did you sleep well?
Yes, not bad.
He smiled. Good, I will make breakfast.
She stretched and grabbed the iron pot.
Ha ha.
The sisters woke up, washed, and helped. After half an hour, 4 of them sat around the table, finished breakfast, and started a new busy day. The sisters made ash cement. Van Han peeled bark across the stream. So Phong with knife and rope went into the forest, preparing logs to build the wooden house.
Ah ah.
In the sleeping bag, So Phong opened his eyes. A new day began. He glanced at the girl beside him, carefully laid her flat, crawled out and dressed. With washing things he went to the stream. A command echoed in his mind, mark.
A virtual screen appeared, showing the glowing number 4.
This was the 3rd month marking, the 94th day, meaning he had spent 92 days in the wild, a quarter of the year gone. 4 days ago the monthly gift, the most valuable, was the danger sense rising from basic to intermediate, but he still felt no real change, since no true danger came. He walked around the posts, chose a spot near the stream to build stairs, convenient for the wooden house and water. He dug holes, buried posts, erected the stair pillars. At the edge he cut slots. He took 2 logs 3 meters long, carved one end, measured with rope, every 30 centimeters drilled a hole for steps. He placed them leaning on the pillars. The slots fit well, tied tight. The bottom ends buried. He shook them to test, solid and safe. Then the 3 girls woke, crawled out.
So Phong, why so early? Van Han yawned.
Just woke up naturally, lazy piglet.
He smiled. You are the lazy piglet. She pouted angrily, carrying the pot and washing things to the stream. Chapter 462, about 5 days. After a while, the Lu sisters came after washing, softly asking, "So Phong, do you need help?" "Saw the logs." So Phong pointed at the pile. "Oh dear."
Lu Waimong sighed helplessly, saying, "In the end, we still cannot escape the fate with wood."
"Ha ha ha." So Phong laughed, handing over the rope, saying, "Saw it this long and it will be fine."
The rope was about 80 centimeters long, the length of a stair step.
"All right,"
Lu Waimong replied, turning with her sister to saw.
10 pieces are enough,"
So Phong said loudly.
"Got it." She waved without looking back.
He chopped 4 more logs, set 2 slanted, each 1 meter apart, as supports. After more than 20 minutes, urged by the girls, the 4 gathered around the wooden table for breakfast.
So Phong glanced at the rope, nodding, enough for now. "Later I will help you build the wooden house," Van Han said gently. "All right." He smiled warmly. "How many days will it take to finish?" Lu Waimong asked curiously. "About 5 days," he replied after thinking. 5 days, I doubt it."
She looked at the pillars and stairs, wondering how such a project could be done in that time.
"Just wait, after 5 days you can move in comfortably,"
So Phong said with a raised brow.
"Then we will wait and see." She laughed innocently. Van Han smiled too, for he never did anything unsure. After breakfast, they worked again.
The sisters kept sawing, while he shaped the logs into pegs and fixed them firmly.
He tested the steps, only a slight shake. "Another one is ready," Waimong shouted. "I will fetch it." Van Han ran, carried it back. NK Books. He added the 3rd step. "A bit slow," he muttered, wiping his hands. "Done."
Waimong handed him a shovel.
"No need, I will use the axe." He measured with rope, struck precisely, soon splitting a piece. "You need 1 minute, we need 10.
Waimong smiled bitterly.
10 minutes later, the rest were done.
He climbed from the 1st to the 10th step, then down, stable enough.
"Let me try," Van Han said excitedly.
"Careful, no rails yet,"
he warned.
"You will catch me, I am not afraid."
She smiled.
She stepped up, but her body shook after 2 steps.
"Enough." She blushed, stepping down.
He found 2 long logs, cut 4 poles. 2 buried as posts, 2 fixed at the top.
"I hold, you tie," he said. "All right," Waimong replied, preparing the rope. He leaned the log, she tied tight. They did the same for the other side. "I go up first, you lift for me," he said. "Be careful," Van Han reminded. "Yes." He climbed up fast, waved, "Lift." "All right." They answered together. 1, 2, 3, hop. Waimong led, they lifted. "Good." He caught it, fixed it with rope. "This side too." They lifted again, he tied, but it shook more. "Need more supports." He went down.
After 20 minutes, he built triangular braces, making the rail solid.
"Now it is ready," he said, satisfied. "Let me." Van Han eagerly climbed, tested, then came down smiling, "Very stable, just watch your step." Chapter 463, Taking Advantage of Absence. "Be careful," Lu Wai Thursday softly reminded. "Got it."
Lu Waimong carefully stepped up the ladder.
She made a round and commented, "Still fine." "Good, keep going, or 5 days will not be enough." So Phong smiled. "What next?" Lu Wai Thursday asked curiously. So Phong looked up at the beam above and said, "Of course, lay the floorboards." "Otherwise, use what?" So Phong smiled. "I will go up first, you pass the wood from below." So Phong assigned. "All right." The three girls responded. So Phong smiled and climbed the ladder to the beam. The three girls lifted the logs so he could reach. He arranged the logs, tied them with ropes, fixing them in place. If only we had nails. So Phong muttered, for nails are stronger than ropes. But in the wild, no nails can be found unless iron ore is refined, which is too time-consuming. So Phong paced on the beam without relaxing. So Phong, let me help. Van Han pouted and carefully climbed up. She was too short to lift logs on the ground. You two down there, still fine? So Phong asked. No problem, very easy. Lu Wai Mong waved. Each log took him 2 minutes to tie, while the sisters only needed 1 minute to lift, with 1 minute rest. That is good. So Phong felt relieved, pulling the log onto the beam. He gave rope to the girl, teaching, this is a crossbeam knot, first pass here, then loop under. The crossbeam knot, derived from a hogtie, was good for fixing planks in tents. Understood. Van Han nodded, following and tied one end successfully. Excellent. So Phong praised, then bent to tie more. With help, the floor speed increased. No rest. Lu Wai Mong rolled up sleeves, rushing back and forth with logs. Time passed, the floor covered 1/3 of the beam. Now past noon, the sun was high but not hot, the breeze gentle. I will cook lunch to regain strength. Van Han stood, carefully went down with the iron pot. Without her, speed slowed back to 2 minutes per log. Ha, time to rest. Lu Wai Mong leaned on the beam. Rest a bit, after lunch continue. So Phong said, seeing the sisters tired. This job should be his, but the floor was important, one mistake could be dangerous, so he must do it. Okay. Lu Wai Thursday Weekly replied, exhausted. Seems we need more tonic meals. So Phong murmured. He planned to search herbs to improve the girl's health. He went down to the stream to wash, refreshed. Half an hour later, neat aroma spread. The girl stirred the clay pot with a wooden spoon. The pot, made 2 days ago, included 6 pots, 3 cauldrons, and small items like sundials, cups, bowls, basins, ovens. Van Han looked at the stew, then poured honey into warm water for cups. She recalled So Phong said honey helps relieve fatigue. Come. Lu Wai Mong pulled her sister to the wooden table. Drink honey water first. Van Han said gently. Clink clink. After a cup of honey water, the sisters felt better. We must train more. So Phong smiled, pulling a chair. Mum. Lu Wai Mong chewed meat, gesturing enough training already. At this time, observers like Ha Min watched live. After screening, only 15 teams remained, so the viewing lasted longer. Is So Phong building a cabin or a villa? Ha Min smiled wryly. If this continues, the forest may be cleared, and even replanting takes long to restore. No Tin Noyet rested her chin, expectant. Wonder how it looks when done, maybe we can stay a few days. Ahem, unlikely. Ha Min said low. Indeed. No Tin Noyet sighed, for the organizers feared other forces taking advantage, making the contest unfair. Chapter 464, 1 move, 2 gains. After finishing lunch and resting, the
NK
4 of them
books.
resumed their busy work. Today we should be able to lay more than half of the floor. So Phong pulled the rope tight, fastening the beams with a cross knot. But we still need to build the walls and roof, will we make it? Van Han asked softly. But it seems the wood is not enough. She looked at the pile, more than half was gone, the rest only enough for the floor. Tomorrow morning we finish the floor, in the afternoon I will cut more wood. So Phong said gently, arranging the logs that the Lu sisters had brought. All right. Van Han replied tenderly. At this moment 2/3 of the floor was done, the rest could be finished in about 3 hours. Good, let's rest, we continue tomorrow. So Phong clapped his hands. Okay. Lu Wai Thursday sat down heavily, tired. You worked hard, I will cook dinner, Van Han said gently, walking to the shelter. So Phong, why not stay on the ground? Lu Wai Meng asked curiously. The space below was not small, only a bit cramped because of the pillars, but easier than building above. This place is near the stream, very damp, many mosquitoes. So Phong explained simply. Ah, I see. Lu Wai Meng nodded. Since it was a wooden house by the stream, heating the ground was unrealistic. One move, two gains. Lu Wai Thursday nodded, the design was good. In many countries with large populations there were similar stilt houses, very much like this shelter. So Phong walked on the floor, checking the joints carefully before feeling assured. Then he went down, took a shovel and dug holes 1/2 meter deep, 2 meters apart, around the outer pillars. So Phong, what are you doing? Lu Wai Meng asked. After digging, he carried logs nearly 5 meters long, stood them in the holes. Wai Meng, bring the rope. Yes. She ran over. Tie the rope around the pillar and the log, fasten them, wrap several times. Got it. She nodded, wrapping 7 or 8 times before tying tight. Tie also at the top. All right. She climbed on a chair, tying several loops on top. So Phong continued placing logs, the sisters fastening them. The logs were 5 meters long, half buried, plus 2 meters of pillar, leaving more than 2 meters above, forming the walls. Do we need to pour cement in the holes? Lu Wai Meng asked. Yes, tomorrow. So Phong answered. This is just the first step of fixing. He patted the pillars, smiling, later we add more rope and triangular braces. Understood. Lu Wai Thursday nodded. Tomorrow you wrap ropes and plaster mud, I will chop more wood. Leave it to us. Lu Wai Meng patted her chest. Wash your hands, dinner is ready. Van Han called. Yes. So Phong replied. They washed in the stream, then sat by the wooden table. Tonight they ate fried vegetables and soup. Eat more, we worked all day. Van Han smiled, serving soup. Then I will not be polite. Lu Wai Meng laughed, blowing before eating heartily. After half an hour they finished, sitting by the fire, weaving rope from hibiscus bark. The bark is almost gone. Van Han worried. I will peel more. So Phong stood, lit a torch, took his axe and crossed the stream. Be careful. Van Han urged. I know. He nodded, stuck the torch in the ground and peeled bark. Nearly an hour later he came back with 2 large bundles, enough to continue. Time passed, night fell. Wash and go to sleep early. So Phong reminded softly. Ah. They went to the stream to wash. After half an hour the 4 slipped into sleeping bags, soon falling asleep. Chapter 465, He Wants to Kiss Me? So Phong crawled out of his sleeping bag, put on his shoes, then carried his toothbrush and towel to the nearby stream. Since adjusting his biological clock, these 2 days he woke up early, yet still slept 8 hours. On the open ground, wooden posts stood firmly, planks laid across, while logs piled on one side, all the result of yesterday's work. Early yesterday, as planned, he laid the remaining planks, then went to cut trees in the forest. The 3 girls stayed at camp, fixing wooden posts, also making cement to pour into the mud pit. Clop clop. He dampened the towel, wiped his face casually, feeling refreshed. Time to shave. So Phong touched his chin, the stubble was troublesome. He returned to the temporary shelter, stored his washing items, picked up his cleaned utility knife, then went before the camera, lathered his chin with soap, using the lens reflection to carefully shave. The camera captured it, and already many viewers were watching. Ha, seeing him like this, I thought he wanted to kiss me. Oh dear, if So Phong kissed me, I would not be clean anymore, now I will never marry. These 2 days he wakes up really early, it is only past 6. All done.
He stroked his chin, a bit smug, tossing his hair before the lens, then cleaned the knife and rinsed his face with fresh water. Stretching, he walked toward the wooden house, inwardly commanding, "Mark it." The familiar simulation screen appeared, the number 7 lit up, showing this was his 90th day in the wild. He climbed the ladder, tested the posts, very sturdy. Looking at the logs below, he thought, then tied a rope to the post, letting one end hang down. He dug at the edge of the ground, jumped down safely. 2 meters high was nothing to him now. He tied the log, climbed back, pulling it up with both hands. "Here will be a window, here will be a door," he muttered. Last night he had finished making doors and windows. Today, once the wall was up, they could be installed. 3 sets of windows for ventilation, important to keep air flowing when the cold came. This was much simpler than laying planks. After 1 hour the first wall stood 1 meter tall. He brought the door frame, just a rectangle frame with logs, forming a window opening upward, held by a stick. The door was 2 meters wide, 80 centimeters tall, fitting between posts, tied firmly with rope. He continued stacking logs. The sun rose, it was past 8 in the morning. Inside the shelter, the 3 girls woke, stretched, and came out. Van Han looked at So Phong busy not far away, dazed, then called, "Why did you not wake us to help?" The wall already stood so tall, how did he do it? "Hey, get up, why sleep so much?" He stopped work, turned back. "Sleep your head." Van Han glared angrily, then hurried to prepare breakfast. "So what?" He shrugged, muttered, and kept working. "Right, are you not tired?" Lu Waimong asked in surprise. "Waking naturally, how could I be tired?" He answered calmly. "Next time wake us, doing it alone is not good." Lu Wai Thursday said gently, helping to fix a log. "Exactly." Lu Waimong nodded. "Are you sure?" "Lack of sleep makes skin sag and age fast," he teased. Lu Waimong froze, her eyes showing tension. Lu Wai Thursday patted her sister, said calmly, "That is good." Lu Waimong exhaled softly, then said firmly, "Yes, wake us early to help." Many debts still unpaid, how could they sleep longer? "Indeed," she said seriously. "Understood." He smiled. Then the sisters joined, the building sped up. By the second breakfast call, the first 2-meter wall was complete. After half an hour, after breakfast, the 4 continued working. So Phong slowly hauled logs up, no need for the girls to carry one by one. The 4 focused fully on building, until night, when the last log was tied, the wooden house with 4 walls was finished. Only the roof is missing. Lu Waimong looked up at the night sky. Van Han circled the wall, eyes glowing, "It feels so safe." So Phong assessed the half-finished house, smiling. "The roof tomorrow, 2 days left, enough time. I really want to move in now." Lu Wai Thursday leaned on the window, looking at the dark forest outside. The house 2 meters tall plus her height, allowed her to see beyond the fence. "Quick, but clean it well first." Van Han rubbed her foot on the uneven floor. "These gaps, later plaster cement to smooth." He smiled, the floor also needed cement, gaps too wide could sprain a foot. "All right, I will prepare dinner," Van Han said happily and left. So Phong watched, thinking the new house was nearly complete. Chapter 466, Playing Roleplay. After dinner, So Phong and the others kept braiding ropes, since tomorrow they would need many for the roof. "So Phong, how will you make the roof waterproof?" Lu Wai Thursday asked curiously. "Using wood would leave gaps, and without proper tools it could not be avoided. I will spread a layer of cement, then cover it with hay, that will keep water out." So Phong nodded while coiling the rope. "But that needs a lot of hay, and there is none around here." Lu Waimong worried. "In the forest there is still plenty, we can also gather leaves and bark, burn them into fine ash." So Phong smiled. "Then tomorrow morning wake us early, we will go to the forest together."
Van Han said seriously. Yes, Chief. So Phong saluted playfully. Is this role-playing?
Lu Waimong exclaimed excitedly.
Role-play your head. Lu Wai Thursday scolded her sister. So Phong urged, tomorrow we must wake early, now we should bathe and sleep. Yes, I want a hot bath before sleep.
Van Han laughed, stood up, and took hot stones from the fire to heat water by the stream. There was a cauldron placed there, with a fence made of branches the three girls had built last night. After more than 10 minutes, the girl stepped out steaming, refreshed, and free of fatigue.
Sister, let's bathe together. Lu Waimong ran after her sister with a towel.
Lu Wai Thursday sighed, already used to it.
Half an hour later, the four lay in their sleeping bags, falling asleep, ending another day in the wild. Sleeping so soundly, yet saying you must wake together, silly piglet. So Phong sighed, watching the girl. He poked her cheek gently. Time to get up, or I will leave first. No. Van Han murmured, hugging his waist. Then sleep more. He said softly. No, I get up now.
She blushed, rubbing against him before rising.
Wake up.
So Phong shook the Lu sisters.
Lu Wai Thursday opened her eyes first, dazed, then nodded, all right.
So Phong took his brush and towel to the stream.
Wake, Waimong.
Lu Wai Thursday nudged her.
Ride my little motorbike.
Lu Waimong turned, mumbling nonsense.
Lu Wai Thursday was stunned, then slapped lightly. Smack. Really, just say wake up, why hit me?
Waimong rubbed her hip, aggrieved. The sisters washed at the stream, while Van Han prepared breakfast.
I called many times, you did not react.
Lu Wai Thursday said sternly.
Really? Waimong squinted.
Of course.
Her sister replied calmly. Was I sleeping like the dead?
Waimong muttered, rushed her wash, then caught up.
After breakfast, the four carried baskets, knives, and bows into the forest. Soon they found hay. Gather here first. So Phong said, cutting hay. Leave it here, later we will carry it back. He added, as the pile was still not enough. All right. The three girls answered. After about an hour and a half, he said, enough, let's return. He carried hay on his shoulder. 20 minutes later, they reached camp, placing hay by the stream, while leaves and bark were burned. You handle cement, I will build the roof. He said, dusting hay off. Waimong, Van Han, and I will do this, you go help So Phong.
Lu Wai Thursday said gently.
Got it.
Waimong sang lightly, entering the wooden house.
So Phong, what first? She asked. Set the frame, then lay beams, that's all. He smiled, pulling out a ladder. The roof would be in a shape, easy to build and drain. Let me help. Waimong rolled up her sleeves. All right. He nodded with a smile. They worked together, moving beams, using axe and rope. In the center they set 4 posts, placed beams across the walls, then braced them with wooden triangles. By noon the frame was done, only beams for the roof left. They paused for lunch. Chapter 467, A Place of Space. Here. Lu Waimong stuck her head out of the window and answered. A moment later, after washing their hands, everyone sat at the wooden table with clay bowls for lunch. So Phong, will you spread the cement on the roof first or the floor first? Van Han chewed meat and asked. The roof cannot be done so fast, it must wait until tomorrow. So Phong thought, then continued. You can spread the floor first, but leave a spot for us to stand. All right. Van Han nodded firmly. After half an hour, the 4 of them started working again. The girl and Lu Wai Thursday mixed the cement, while So Phong and Lu Wai Thursday worked on the roof frame, tied with ropes to the support poles for safety. Lu Waimong lifted the logs, while So Phong, at the highest and most dangerous spot,
fitted them into place and tied them with ropes.
One by one, the logs were set on the roof, gradually covering it. Van Han carried a clay jar, looked up with worry and said, "So Phong, be careful up there, you make me nervous."
"I know, but you must also be careful."
Van Han nodded and warned. "All right."
So Phong smiled faintly. The girl bent, poured cement, spread it carefully so it seeped into the gaps. She worked attentively, since this was their new home.
Lu Wai Thursday brought another jar, replacing Van Han, then went down to fetch more.
The two girls, with limited strength, could only carry cement little by little.
Half of the roof was covered, the rest left for tomorrow.
So Phong, Sister Mon, come down, I have covered the floor with cement, tomorrow we can step on it freely.
Van Han called.
Most of the floor was covered, only a strip around the poles and 1 meter wide was left.
Wai Mong, come down. So Phong called. Coming.
Lu Wai Mong bit her lip, carefully climbed down.
This is yours now, I will prepare dinner. Lu Wai Mong said. All right. Van Han replied. Lu Wai Thursday carried the rest of the cement, covering the floor. Rest, I will do this. So Phong took the jar. Yes. Lu Wai Thursday looked at the nearly finished floor, then went down, leaving them space.
So Phong sat by the girl, smiling.
So, do you like this wooden house?
He stroked her head gently.
Good, this will be our new home. When the roof is done tomorrow we can move in.
I really hope time goes faster.
Van Han whispered dreamily.
He carefully leveled the cement, stomping lightly so it filled the gaps. After half an hour, under the torchlight, the floor was fully covered, even the 1 meter stair.
Good, let it dry and continue tomorrow. So Phong said. Yes, wash hands, I wonder what we eat tonight. Van Han glanced at the Lu sisters still busy.
They washed hands by the stream, then returned, curious about the clay pot by the fire.
Sit, food will be ready soon.
Lu Wai Mong waved the spoon.
So Phong sniffed. Mushrooms, wild greens, oysters, fish. He muttered. Ah. How do you know what ingredients are inside? Lu Wai Mong asked in surprise. I guessed. So Phong smiled. Why can I not smell anything?
Van Han tried but still puzzled.
It is ready. Lu Wai Thursday placed the pot on the table. Is this mixed stew? Van Han stirred. Yes, tasty and simple.
Lu Wai Mong laughed, not admitting she chose it to avoid trouble. She had thought of it for over 10 minutes.
Looks good. So Phong tried a piece. Of course, with Lu the cook, how can it not? Lu Wai Mong boasted. Give her some praise and she wants a shop already? Lu Wai Thursday glanced. He.
Lu Wai Mong stuck her tongue playfully.
Van Han laughed quietly, dinner began in joy.
After half an hour, Lu Wai Thursday washed dishes by the stream. So Phong dug clay for chimneys, since the roof was almost done. Van Han and Lu Wai Mong helped, they needed 6 or 7 chimneys, each half a foot tall, narrower at the top. Make 2 extra, in case one breaks, to have spares.
Van Han suggested. Good idea.
So Phong praised with a thumbs up.
Chapter 468, Wooden House completed. After breakfast, So Phong and the others began preparing for work. It is dry now, looks just like the floor in the dormitory.
Van Han sat inside the wooden house, pressed her hand on the cement floor, and found it very hard. In the past, when staying in the village dorm, the ground was just rough cement, never polished. Later, when we return to the city, we can also build a house ourselves. Lu Wai Mong teased. If we have our own land, it is possible. So Phong smiled, reminding himself to win the contest and become the number 1 talent. He stretched his limbs, stepped on the ladder to climb up to the roof, and tied the safety rope at his waist to the beam. Lu Waimong also climbed carefully, secured the safety rope, and helped lift the wood onto the roof. Sister Thursday, let us go, we need to make more cement.
Van Han turned and walked out of the house.
NK Books.
Yes.
Lu Wai Thursday nodded, and the two went to the stream to work. Time passed, the sun rose high at noon.
Ha, almost done.
Lu Waimong supported the pole with one hand and struggled to lift the wood with the other. On the roof, So Phong sat carefully on the beam, pulling the wood into place. More than 10 minutes later, the last wood was tied tightly, the roof was sealed, only cement and straw needed to cover it, and it was almost complete. So Phong climbed down, clapped his hands, and looked at the roof with satisfaction.
It looks wonderful. Lu Waimong sighed. Once cleaned, we can move in.
So Phong said softly, covering the roof with cement and straw would not affect the inside.
Great, I will prepare water and cloth.
Lu Waimong happily ran down the stairs to the temporary shelter.
So Phong, be careful. Vu Han came with a clay jar, raised both hands to offer it. Okay.
So Phong replied sincerely, lifting the jar on the roof, sitting at the edge, pouring the cement, and pressing flat with the board.
The girls and Lu Wai Thursday kept bringing jars of cement to the roof.
So Phong stepped down, put the jar and board aside.
Do not move, I will wipe your face. Van Han said gently.
The girl rolled up her sleeves, stood on tiptoe, and carefully wiped the cement from his face.
Done.
Van Han smiled, pinched his cheek, and whispered, "You worked hard."
Blushing, she turned and ran inside to clean with Lu Waimong.
Lu Wai Thursday carried the jar to the stream to wash. If dried, it would be hard to clean. Half an hour later, Lu Waimong and Van Han came out, cleaned all leftover wood and ropes.
Be careful, do not fall.
So Phong muttered, went downstairs, and carried the heavy wooden table inside.
So Phong, put it here, we will eat here later.
Van Han put down the chair and began arranging. Then here we put the bed, there the shelves, and here. Van Han smiled brightly, more and more satisfied. I will bring the beds in, you arrange freely.
So Phong smiled quietly. Go on. Van Han replied without looking back.
So Phong went down, ran several times, moved 2 beds and other items like an oil jar and water pot. With the help of the Lu sisters, the temporary shelter was cleared, leaving only the tied fawn. 2 beds were arranged in a hidden corner, next to 2 shelves, opposite a table and chairs for dining. At the far side was the kitchen, though the stove was not yet built.
Lu Waimong suddenly asked, So Phong, what about the toilet?
The toilet will take a few more days to build, we need to dig a pit, it is troublesome.
So Phong replied.
He planned to dig a pit for waste, not polluting the nearby stream.
Ah, I see. Lu Waimong nodded and fell on the big bed, very excited. So Phong, the sky is getting dark, should we cover with straw?
Lu Wai Thursday asked softly.
Do it tomorrow, tonight it will not rain.
So Phong observed the sky and was certain. I will prepare dinner, tonight we will eat inside the wooden house. Van Han carried a pot and ingredients, full of excitement, down the stairs. Although the meal was late, once the stove was built, they could cook inside, everything would come in time.
I will help. You.
Lu Waimong stood up quickly and followed her downstairs. Chi. Dog Dan climbed from the window, quickly climbed up the frame, and squatted on the beam curiously looking around.
Dog Dan, come down. So Phong took 2 walnuts from the bag, placed them in his hand.
Chi. Dog Dan hesitated, then climbed down, ran to So Phong's arm, and grabbed his finger.
Where have you been these days?
So Phong crushed the walnut, opened his palm, and let it eat. He had not seen Dog Dan for days, thought it failed to tame, but now it returned. Chi. Dog Dan tilted his furry head, gnawed the kernel.
All right, go play.
So Phong smiled, put the other walnut on the table. He quickly went to see what the girl was preparing for dinner.
Chapter 469, Do you want to eat the bunny?
The ceramic stove was placed on the ground, with burning wood on top, serving as temporary light. Around the wooden table, the four of them sat together, sharing dinner.
Eating dinner here feels so different. At last we are no longer under the open sky.
Lu Yimeng sighed, her heart full of safety.
We can relax a little now.
Su Feng smiled.
Su Feng, the meat is almost gone.
Yun Han pursed her lips and spoke softly.
I really forgot this issue. Su Feng was stunned, then smiled bitterly.
Not going hunting for so long, he forgot that stored meat would eventually be finished.
Then let us go hunting tomorrow. Lu Yimeng's eyes lit up with excitement.
If we save carefully, it will last 3 or 4 days.
Yun Han thought for a moment and said,
Yes, just add more mushrooms and wild vegetables. Meat should not be eaten too much.
Balanced food is healthiest.
Su Feng said softly. He frowned slightly, thought for a while, and continued, the rabbit we raised should also be tasted.
Lu Yimeng put down her chopsticks, shocked. Su Feng, do you want to eat the bunny?
Lu Yimeng, you are too straightforward.
Lu Yizhu twitched her eyes, goosebumps rising all over. Su Feng, do you really want to eat the rabbit?
Yun Han frowned and stared at him.
The rabbit was raised to be eaten, could they keep it forever?
This was not a farm.
Su Feng, why not go hunting? Lu Yizhu asked in doubt. If he went hunting and a leopard or other big cat came by, what would the girls do?
Besides, the stream nearby had no fence, only the water acting as a barrier. With its width, most beasts could jump over. So the first thing to do was to finish the fence, cover it with thorns, and build barriers on the other side of the stream.
I understand, all right.
Yun Han compromised, but swallowed hard.
Lu Yimeng narrowed her eyes suspiciously. Yun Han, do you also want to eat the bunny? No, not at all. Yun Han blushed and quickly denied.
But I saw you swallow your saliva.
Lu Yimeng said innocently. Su Feng could not help laughing. Rabbit meat was indeed delicious, better than venison and boar. After half an hour, the Lu sisters carried bowls downstairs to wash.
The girl neatly arranged things, spread sleeping bags, hung bows and knives, and placed ceramic jars on the shelf. Do not hurry, after such a tiring day, let us tidy up tomorrow. Su Feng gently advised. She looked at the increasingly complete house, her smile never fading. Su Feng shook his head helplessly, stood to help.
You sit down, I will handle it. Yun Han waved him off quickly.
He took charge outside, she inside, a natural division of roles.
Fine, fine. Su Feng smiled bitterly, shrugged, and sat back, watching the girl busy.
The spring night wind on the island blew through the window into the wooden house.
Over an hour later, they all bathed and went to bed. Yun Han yawned.
Su Feng hugged her waist and whispered, sleep now.
Yes, good night.
Yun Han rubbed her head against him. Sleeping on a big bed was much more comfortable than the ground, and she soon fell asleep.
Early in the morning, the sun rose, now it was past 8. Yun Han's sleepy voice sounded.
She sat up groggily, her eyes unfocused, then finally woke.
This hand is not honest.
Yun Han blushed, feeling a little strange. She quickly got up, put on shoes, combed her hair with a wooden comb, pinned it with a hairpin, then grabbed washing items and went downstairs.
After washing, the Lu sisters also got up. Good morning. Yun Han smiled sweetly. Morning.
Lu Yizhu replied gently, then opened all the windows.
Su Feng yawned.
Without setting his biological clock, he woke naturally. He took his washing items downstairs, joined the sisters, then prepared to spread hay on the roof. Su Feng, let me help you. Lu Yimeng offered. The roof was covered with cement, rough enough, not too steep, safe if careful.
All right.
She answered quickly, then climbed up. Here, tie it to your waist. Su Feng handed her a rope.
Lu Yiman was surprised. It is fine. She smiled brightly, tied the rope around her waist, and secured it. Su Feng dropped another rope down. Below, Lu Yizhu tied it to the haystack. Done. She called up. All right.
Su Feng stood on the edge, pulled hard, and slowly lifted the hay.
Su Feng, be careful. Lu Yiming tensed, pulling the rope tight, afraid he would fall. Soon, the hay was on the roof.
Su Feng then pulled the rest and the wooden poles.
The poles were used to press the hay, so wind and rain would not blow it away.
The two worked busily, spreading hay, pressing it with poles, and tying ropes.
To save time climbing down, they ate breakfast on the roof.
Busy all morning, they finally covered the whole roof with hay, and next would build the fence.
Chapter 470, You will not have a girlfriend in the future. What do we do next? Should we cut more thorn bushes?
Lu Waimong washed her face in the spring, drops of water sparkling on her pretty cheeks.
We will cut them tomorrow. Today we finish the fence first.
So Feng said softly.
All right.
Lu Waimong shook her short hair and stood up. So Feng carried logs across the stream, dug holes with the engineer shovel, and set them upright. The logs formed a rectangle, later to become a garden for herbs and wild vegetables. The three girls helped, and near 4 o'clock in the afternoon the fence was finished. It stood 2 meters high, 10 meters long, and about 5 meters wide, connected to the camp fence. Even the stream was fenced, leaving only a bottom gap for water to flow. Luckily the water was shallow, otherwise it would have been impossible. At one side So Feng made a gate leading to the forest of hibiscus and pine.
Good, we can let the rabbits loose now.
So Feng smiled, free rabbits would taste better.
Ah. Won't they dig burrows and escape?
Van Han asked worriedly. Rabbits were famous for digging burrows. The saying about 3 burrows was not without reason. No, the ground here is too hard, unless their claws are like engineer shovels.
So Feng laughed.
I can confirm that, it is very hard to dig. Lu Waimong raised her hand, remembering the stones every time she dug a hole.
That is good, I will release the rabbits.
Van Han felt relieved, ran to the bamboo cage under the house, and lifted the lid. The rabbits hesitated and stayed inside.
Why not come out? Van Han shook the cage.
Leave them, they are used to being caged, once no one is around they will come out. So Feng spoke gently. She returned to the house, leaned at the window, and soon saw the rabbits running in the yard, looking around and eating fresh grass.
1, 2, 3, 4. Van Han counted, thinking which one to eat in a few days. If they ate one, it should be the fattest one, the rest could be kept. Eat that one, the biggest and fattest, it is a male, no use for breeding. So Feng whispered. Yes, I thought the same. Van Han nodded, then turned and asked curiously, So Feng, how did you know what I was thinking? Your drool is almost dripping.
So Feng poked her cheek, her hungry eyes had betrayed her.
Ha ha ha. So Feng burst out laughing. Annoying, you tease me again. Van Han pouted and glared. Fine, tonight we eat rabbit. So Feng stopped laughing. Ah. Shouldn't we finish the salted meat first? Lu Waimong asked.
Sooner or later we must eat, the salted meat can last longer.
So Feng explained. Then I will catch the rabbit. N.K. Books.
Lu Waimong rolled up her sleeves, eager, and went down to catch the fattest rabbit before dark.
The rabbit bolted toward the house. Damn it, don't run!
Lu Waimong shouted, chasing it across the yard. Seems tonight no rabbit for us. Lu Wai Thursday covered her face, her sister let it escape. It is getting dark, I will help her.
Van Han hurried down.
The two girls chased hard, breathing heavily, but could not touch a single hair. Sister, come help, it is too tricky.
Lu Waimong called. Coming. Lu Wai Thursday sighed and went down.
So Phong leaned at the window, watching them run while the rabbit slipped away.
Let me handle it. So Phong smiled and went down. So Phong, you catch it, we cannot. Lu Waimong panted, pointing at the rabbit still watching from afar. Cannot, no strength.
Van Han gasped, fearing if they could not catch rabbits later they would starve.
Leave it to me.
So Phong said confidently. It is cunning, be careful.
Van Han warned.
Whoosh, the stone hit the rabbit's neck, killing it instantly, throwing it more than 1 meter away. Above, the drone filmed the scene.
Wow, one stone killed it? Unbelievable. 2 simple words, should use better ones.
Yes, So Phong deserves higher praise.
So Phong, you are too violent.
Van Han scolded, then picked up the rabbit.
Just like that? Lu Waimong was stunned. Just like that. So Phong swaggered away. Why not help sooner?
Lu Waimong stomped angrily.
I cannot reply, you will not have a girlfriend in the future.
Lu Waimong wrinkled her nose innocently. She carried the rabbit to the stream to clean.
So Phong, what did you say? Lu Wai Thursday asked suspiciously. Nothing. So Phong laughed and returned to the house. Chapter 471, Polisette.
So Phong and the girl, together with the 2 Lu sisters, sat around a small stream, a fire burning before them, above it a skinned fat rabbit sizzling with dripping oil. It smells so good. Lu Meng secretly swallowed her saliva, inhaling deeply as the fragrance of meat filled her nose.
Gurgle.
Lu Thursday, her face rarely flushing, felt her stomach rumble. Tonight's dinner came later than usual, since catching the rabbit had taken too long. The feather brush was made by So Phong, also from rabbit fur. Lu Meng nodded lightly. A few minutes later, the roasted rabbit was placed on a clay pot. It is ready, be careful not to burn yourself.
Van Han gently reminded.
Use the knife, it is easier. So Phong sterilized the blade in the fire. He cut both hind legs and handed them directly to the girl.
So much.
Van Han blushed, both large rabbit legs for her.
If not enough, I will cook more.
So Phong spoke tenderly.
Enough, enough.
Van Han quickly waved her hand.
Eat more, your body is still growing. Lu Thursday softly said. You all eat too.
Van Han parted her red lips, biting the crispy skin, her eyes lit, mouth eating eagerly.
This is for you, who wants it?
So Phong cut another hind leg and handed it to the sisters.
He, sister is the best. Lu Meng giggled, quickly biting it. Now we eat the forelegs. So Phong cut the front legs and handed them to Lu Thursday with a smile. Thank you.
Lu Thursday replied softly, bowing to bite the meat.
Not bad. So Phong tasted and commented. Now I wonder if the other rabbits are scared. Lu Meng tilted her head, peeking under the dark cabin.
The rabbits had hidden beneath, slipping obediently back into the bamboo cage. The girl could not help but laugh, eating in front of their kind felt a bit strange. Half an hour later, only bones remained, yet the 4 still licked their fingers unsatisfied.
Not full yet? So Phong asked softly. Let us make fish soup, I want some too.
His lips curved gently.
I will cook it.
Van Han took a torch and ran to the cabin.
So Phong, you only worry about Van Han not being full, right? Lu Meng teased. Then are you full? So Phong countered with a smile. I can still eat a little.
Lu Meng rubbed her stomach. Soon, the girl returned with an iron pot, filled with smoked fish, mushrooms, and wild greens. After 20 minutes, the water boiled, turning milky white, the scent of fish spreading thickly.
Add some salt. Van Han sprinkled, stirred, and soon the soup was ready. She served So Phong a full bowl. Done. You all have some too. So Phong said warmly. All right.
Louis Meng could not resist, taking another bowl.
Sister Thursday, you also drink. Van Han handed Louis Thursday a full bowl. All right. Louis Thursday drank quietly. I am full, you eat the rest.
So Phong put down the bowl and even burped.
I am also full.
Louis Meng felt satisfied. Rabbit meat and fish soup, such a life even city folk could hardly enjoy.
Me too.
Louis Thursday spoke softly. Van Han's eyes widened, her mouth still holding fish, mumbling, there is still plenty, eat more.
Cannot eat, you finish it. Louis Meng giggled, pouring the rest of the fish into her bowl.
The other three exchanged glances, smiling silently. After a while, the girl laid down the pot, burping shyly with a blush. The Lu sisters cleaned up, squatting by the stream to wash.
Later, the four returned to the cabin, relaxing with hot tea. No more water, I will fetch. Louis Meng lifted the iron pot and went downstairs.
So Phong rose and picked up a large log.
So Phong, what are you doing? Van Han asked curiously. Making a pulley set, it will be easier to fetch water later. He spoke softly.
The water vat was always empty, fetching water upstairs was troublesome, so they rarely stored any. He wanted to create a pulley system, building a tripod at the door, tying a wooden bucket to a rope, pulling water like a well.
Ah, this method is good.
Van Han's eyes brightened. A pulley set would surely ease the work. How?
Could she not know?
At first she thought using water upstairs was inconvenient, but now the solution seemed good, though not as easy as bamboo pipes. It was no longer a problem. So Phong drew a circle of 10 centimeters on the log, cut around with an axe, then slowly shaped the edge with a knife. After 20 minutes, he finished a round piece, finally smoothing it on the cement floor.
Chapter 472, Afraid of Starving to Death.
So Phong planned to build the simplest pulley set, one fixed and one movable. He slowly carved a hole in the center of a wooden disc with his army knife, then polished its edge with a flat stone, grinding out a shallow groove to fix the rope so it would not slip. He sharpened one end of a wooden stick, pushed it through the disc, and tested its rotation.
Following the same method, after more than half an hour he made another pulley. It would be better with some oil. Van Han tested the pulley. It could turn, but the friction was not small. We will add oil when we use it, not sure if it will work.
So Phong whispered, waiting for tomorrow to build a tripod and install the pulley set. It should work, in theory it is correct. Van Han nodded, the system was simple and widely used.
Well, if the genius says so, then no problem. So Phong teased.
Of course. Van Han was a bit proud. In school she was a recognized top student.
A top student who can cook, very rare.
Lu Meng praised.
She remembered most top students at school only knew instant noodles. Not exaggerated like that.
Van Han blushed, too much praise was hard to bear. All right, praise more and she will float to the sky.
So Phong joked. Ha ha ha.
He laughed under the girl's glare, then said, not early, go bathe now. An hour later the four bathed and sat around a wooden table playing chess. In the next 3 days, So Phong led the 3 girls to collect thorn branches upstream, layering them on the fence to increase safety. Just gathering and carrying took 2 days, fixing them took another day until dark. On the 4th morning, the sky was dim and foggy.
Ah!
So Phong opened his eyes, got up from the sleeping bag, put on shoes, picked up his washing kit, and went downstairs. He planned to hunt today, unless it rained. After washing by the stream, he turned back home as a command appeared, mark. The display popped up, showing number 12 lit, meaning it was the 100th day.
Already 100 days? He frowned. What 100 days?
Lu Meng yawned as she came down the stairs.
So fast?
She was stunned, not realizing 100 days had passed. The system marked every dawn, now 3 months gone, today was the 12th day of the 4th month.
Soon it will pass.
So Phong smiled, patted her shoulder, and went upstairs.
Over an hour later they sat to a hot breakfast. Van Han, how much salted meat left? He asked. Only enough for one day.
She replied, since the thorn work consumed much energy, the little stock decreased.
Then today we hunt. He nodded. We will go deep into the forest, also to scout further. He said. There are leopards there, too dangerous. She warned. Do not worry, I can handle it. He reassured with a look. I still worry. She pouted, face full of concern. Be good, nothing will happen, I will take my knife. He soothed her. Every time you go to dangerous places. She sighed, torn between support and worry. No fear, my strength can kill a leopard with one punch. He flexed his muscles. Promise me you must be careful, even if no prey, just return safe. She urged. Yes, I promise. He nodded firmly. I will watch him, relax. Lu Waimong vowed, pounding her chest. You be careful too, do not drag behind. Lu Wai Thursday warned. That sounds like insult, I am his best helper. Lu Waimong retorted. Do not worry, I will take care of her. So Phong smiled, sure they could at least escape safely. All right. Lu Wai Thursday looked at him gratefully. No need to pack too much, I will return before dark. He said. No, you said that before and only came back the next day. Van Han reminded, preparing a basket with 2 days of food. We do not need salted meat. He tried again, but she still put it in. Better safe, I and Thursday will manage here with rabbits and fawns, we will not starve. She spoke gently. There are smoked fish and dry rations too. Lu Wai Thursday added. Then you must catch rabbits, or else we may starve. He sighed, fearing they would. Chapter 473, Forensic Analysis. Van Han's eyes were full of worry, she softly reminded, So Phong, if danger comes, just run, do not try to act strong. Got it. So Phong answered in a deep voice. Every time was the same, Van Han repeated her words, and he always answered seriously, because the girl was truly worried for him. Lu Waimong, take care of yourself. Lu Wai Thursday held her sister's hand tightly, giving careful advice. Come back early. Van Han waved her hand to remind again. Got it, you all do not go out if not necessary. So Phong did not turn back, just waved, then pushed open the big door of the shelter. After Lu Waimong stepped out, he closed it again. Van Han hurried upstairs, leaning at the window to watch the two figures disappear into the forest. Spring had come, the once bare trees sprouted green leaves, the whole forest covered in fresh green, blocking many sights. They left, what should we do now? Lu Wai Thursday whispered. We go to the riverbank, till the soil, and plant taro and beans. Van Han stroked her face and smiled. She looked once more at the forest, then carried a small sack of taro, beans, and Indian canna down. Stay close, be mindful of movements around. He turned and whispered. All right. Lu Waimong swallowed and nodded, both excited and nervous. No need to be nervous, we are two, even if a leopard comes, it will hesitate. So Phong smiled to ease her. Come, quicken the pace, see if we can find prey. So Phong gently urged, now his sense of danger had leveled up, he believed he could foresee before danger came. I hope to catch deer or mountain goat. Lu Waimong sped up, dreaming aloud. More than deer or goats, I wish for wild boar. So Phong said softly, scanning around, using tracking knowledge to read signs. Why so? Lu Waimong asked in surprise. Simple, wild boar meat tastes better. So Phong laughed, its meat is dense and filling, lasting longer. Really? I think deer and goat meat are not bad. Lu Waimong muttered. The two went deeper into the forest, After over an hour they reached near the leopard's territory.
On the ground they saw scat and urine of leopard and other beasts. Indeed, wild boars are near. So Phong murmured, seeing soil dug up, new tubers eaten clean.
So Phong, look, why are there bones on the tree? Lu Waimong cried, clinging to his back, pointing ahead.
So Phong looked, indeed on a tall tree hung a deer skeleton, still intact, with hide and dried meat strips.
It was dragged up by a leopard.
He said deeply, seeing many claw marks on the trunk. From habits and signs, only leopard could pull such prey onto a tree.
What now? Could the leopard be lurking near?
Lu Waimong tensed, gripping her bow, arrow nocked. Judging from bite marks and weathering, this skeleton is from a month ago. So Phong stepped closer, looking up at the skeleton 3 meters high. He pointed to dug soil and strange footprints, confidently said, so there is a big chance it is not here, otherwise small animals would not be so active.
The drone zoomed on the skeleton, viewers burst with comments. Since when did So Phong do forensics? That amazing? Just by looking he knew death time? Maybe bluffing?
With my 20 years as coroner, I confirm So Phong is right, the deer bones dried at least a month.
With his fame now, does he need cheap tricks? Good then. Lu Waimong quietly exhaled.
Let us go, that side should bring gains.
So Phong glanced at the skeleton, then walked towards the tracks. Wait for me.
Lu Waimong called, hurrying after. They walked deeper for another hour, trees taller and denser, blocking most of the sky, foggy all around. No prey appeared, but they gathered many fresh wild greens, first of spring.
This is front car grass, that is snake tongue herb.
So Phong dug herbs, reciting names.
So Phong, here is much perilla.
Lu Waimong shook off soil, put into the basket.
Take all back, may be useful. So Phong said, planning to plant crops across the river, so tried anyway. After 7 or 8 minutes, the basket half
filled, mostly greens and herbs.
Here is Buplurum, take 2. So Phong's eyes lit, spotting it, good for colds.
He moved, pushed aside grass, used hatchet to dig roots.
So Phong, another one here.
Lu Waimong said softly.
I will dig. So Phong quickly answered, crouched to dig. Rustling sound.
Suddenly he froze, stood up, staring at the nearby bushes where sound came.
Chapter 474, The Porcupine. So Phong, how is it?
Lu Waimong was startled by So Phong's sudden move, her heart tensed.
It is fine, do not move. So Phong whispered.
He hid his breath, gently pushed aside the bushes, and looked behind carefully.
A porcupine? So Phong was surprised, then smiled faintly. It seemed today would not be fruitless.
Behind the bushes, a porcupine was chewing wild roots. The porcupine, also called thorn pig, was covered in sharp quills, unlike pigs, as its back to tail carried spines pigs never had. Besides the quills, it had a fat body, sharp teeth, belonging to rodents. Its body could reach 55 centimeters, weighed more than 10 kilograms, the head like a mix of rabbit and rat, with small eyes and ears, so its hearing and sight were not keen. The porcupine before So Phong was about 70 centimeters, glaring at him with doubt, quills raised high.
Looks like we can change flavor.
So Phong smiled, recalling porcupine meat was edible and quite tasty.
He once saw on television that porcupines were not cheap. So Phong.
Lu Waimong called softly, seeing him stare for nearly a minute. He straightened, took a chopping axe, and cut a wooden stick 2 meters long. So Phong circled the bush carefully, approaching from behind, the porcupine still there, quills raised. He held the stick tightly, moving closer. Swish swish. The quills shook, rubbing with a strange sound.
Fok fok fok. Its mouth made odd cries, showing its anger. Anger is useless.
So Phong said coldly. Suddenly, he closed his eyes, gripped the stick, and from 2 meters he struck, flipping the porcupine on its back, then pierced its neck with force.
Fok fok.
The porcupine screamed in rage and fear, limbs flailing, some quills shot out but fell weakly near So Fong's feet. His face calm, the stick pressed harder, its cries weakened until silence. After waiting minutes, he released the stick, the porcupine dead, its neck sunken with a round mark.
So Phong, what was that sound? Lu Waimong asked curiously.
Come here, see for yourself.
So Phong smiled, the hunt was complete. Ah, a porcupine.
Lu Waimong stepped closer, her eyes bright.
Yes, time for a new taste.
So Phong smiled, put down the stick, crouched, avoided the quills, and lifted it by the neck.
So fat, enough for a few days. Lu Waimong said happily. Plenty.
So Phong nodded, found hay and rope, and wrapped the porcupine carefully to avoid injury.
Why not pluck the quills first? Lu Waimong asked. These may have use later, we will bring them back. So Phong answered. Maybe for Mama, as weapons? Lu Waimong giggled. So Fong's eye twitched. Let us go further, if nothing else we return. He whispered after thinking.
It was midday, still early.
All right.
Lu Waimong packed the vegetables into the basket.
They continued into the forest, seeing traces of small animals, many grasses gnawed bare. Here are rabbit droppings.
So Phong said, pointing at round black pellets, the size of soybeans. It is possible, but troublesome, leave for later.
So Phong straightened, followed the tracks until they vanished in thick brush full of vines and thorns. Surely rabbits were inside, but clearing away was not easy. Then shall we return? Lu Waimong asked. Yes, remember this spot, next time we come.
So Phong nodded, brushing his hands.
Let us go home. Lu Waimong smiled, happy even without much gain.
They walked back on the same path.
Ah, So Phong, a mango tree.
Lu Waimong spotted a tree hidden by others, lush with leaves.
She ran over, it was indeed a mango tree, larger than the ones in the bamboo grove before. Not flowering or fruiting yet, must wait until July, still far.
So Phong said, the tree only had young leaves.
Then mark it, later we may eat.
Lu Waimong said excitedly, carving signs on nearby trunks.
So Phong pressed his lips, thinking if with plant solution the tree could fruit faster.
He decided to test later.
Good, let us go. Lu Waimong dusted her hands, satisfied with the marks. The sky grew darker, clouds thick. He suspected rain tonight. Chapter 475, A Frail Body. Huff huff.
Van Han was drenched in sweat, her clothes now rough cloth, she held the military shovel to dig the soil. Lu Wai Thursday sat resting nearby, the two had worked since morning, taking turns digging the riverbank. 5 minutes ago it was her, now the young girl's turn.
Hurry up.
Van Han bit her lip, before her still lay a patch of land uncleared. She paused to rest briefly, then picked up the shovel again. Over 10 minutes later she finally overturned the soil along the bank, mixing in crushed charcoal and ash.
Each harvest season, old Wang always dug and spread ash, saying it could enrich the earth.
Indeed, the crops afterward grew much better.
Van Han, rest a while, your face looks pale.
Lu Wai Thursday urged softly.
All right.
Van Han stepped slowly on the soft ground, sat beside her.
Drink some water. Lu Wai Thursday handed her a bamboo tube with mint water. Thank you.
Van Han took it, lifted her head to drink, her fatigue eased.
You rest, I will plant the taro first.
Lu Wai Thursday whispered, opening a sack to take out small taro.
All right. Van Han answered weakly, she was truly exhausted. She muttered, I wonder what So Phong will say when he returns. Thinking of him, she could not help but glance at the gate, why had he not returned yet? Could he be in danger, she worried? Foo foo. She spat playfully, quickly chased the thought, mumbling, nonsense, So Phong is so capable, he will return safely. She focused back on the planting. Taro loves warmth and moisture, hates drought, prefers damp shady places, so the riverside suited them well. There were few, soon all planted.
Then she sowed sand beans nearby, simply dropping the tuber and covering with soil. Next was the Indian canna, also planted near the stream.
You must rest, if So Phong returns he will scold.
Lu Wai Thursday waved her hand.
All right then.
Van Han sat again shyly, already imagining his expression. He surely would not blame, only worry, and look for herbs to heal her.
In the observation room, No Tin Noyet and others watched them.
That is truly childhood sweethearts.
Ha Min sighed. Tai Vaidin nodded, recalling his own childhood. Such things never existed. What impresses me is their ability, not weaker than some male contestants. Vong Lam praised rarely. Indeed. Ha Min agreed. The wilderness makes people grow.
No Tin Noyet reflected, pitying the girl, echoing the saying, without mother children learn early.
Let us keep watching, maybe they will be the dark horse. Ha Min said.
Sister Thursday, here are some mint and herb seeds.
Van Han shyly produced a paper bag.
Give them, let us sow, Lu Wai Thursday whispered, scattering seeds near the fence. She marked the soil with sticks to avoid stepping on them. Finally she sowed mint separately, covered with earth.
Anything else to plant? She asked. Let me think. Van Han blinked, then brightened. Yes, some wild ginger, let us sow too. Where is it? I will get it.
Lu Wai Thursday brushed off dirt, headed to the hut.
On the bottom shelf, in a bamboo basket. Van Han pointed quickly. All right.
She nodded, went up the stairs. At the shelf she muttered, bamboo basket bottom shelf.
Indeed, inside were many wild ginger and some Eutrema tenure roots.
She carried it, glanced out the window, saw two familiar figures.
NK Books. Finally back. She breathed out, hurried to the door, calling, Van Han, So Phong is back. Really? Van Han froze, then rejoiced.
Does my face still look pale? She asked nervously.
A little. Lu Wai Thursday whispered.
I must rub for color. Van Han rubbed her cheeks, trying to look rosy.
She patted her face, asked quickly, how is it now? Much better. Lu Wai Thursday smiled, though clearly she was weak. Sister, Van Han, we are back. From outside came Lu Wai Mong's voice. Chapter 476, Blessed with Nourishment. Sister, what are you doing?
Lu Wai Mong carried a bamboo basket quickly, her eyes scanning the wooden house, soon spotting the two people by the brook.
You are back already.
Van Han smiled brightly, hurried over, eyes avoiding So Phong slightly, asking with concern.
Are you hurt? No, I am fine. So Phong replied gently. He suspiciously lowered his head, lifted the girl's chin, fixed her face, and softly asked. Van Han, are you feeling unwell? Why does your complexion look bad? Sigh.
Lu Wai Thursday pursed her lips with a soft sigh, as expected he noticed.
All right, put things down, let me pour you some water.
Van Han quickly changed the subject, turned and walked into the wooden house.
Something is hidden.
Lu Wai Mong lifted her chin slightly, arms crossed, looking as if she saw through everything.
Got beaten again.
Lu Wai Mong pouted aggrievedly.
Did you harvest today?
Lu Wai Thursday ignored her sister's accusing look.
Some harvest. So Phong answered, put down the bamboo basket, took out a hedgehog, and smiled. Caught a hedgehog. We can eat for a few more days, let me handle it, you rest. Lu Wai Thursday received it, her hands sinking under its weight. Be careful, it is not light. So Phong reminded. Yes.
Lu Wai Thursday bit her lip, carried the hedgehog slowly to the stream.
He looked at the land across, frowned, turned and asked. All of this done by you? Yes, the taros were planted. Lu Wai Thursday replied. No wonder your face looks pale. So Phong sighed.
Such a big piece of land, 2 girls loosened the soil and planted taro in one day. How could they endure? How could their faces look well? He went inside the wooden house, quietly opened the door, saw the girl rubbing her face before the mirror.
Stop rubbing, it will not improve your complexion.
So Phong said sternly.
No.
Van Han quickly let go, turned, tugged her clothes, looking shy.
You still deny, your lips are pale. So Phong squeezed her cheeks, sighed.
Next time, know your limits, this way you may fall ill.
I know.
Van Han smiled, held his hand, knowing he was not angry.
Take off your clothes.
So Phong said softly.
Ah.
Van Han froze, then her face turned red.
Why should I take off my clothes? What are you thinking? I just massage you, it will feel better. So Phong tapped her forehead. Say it clearly.
Van Han whispered in relief. She looked at the camera, pushed it away, blushing, turned back, took off her cloth, left only thin underclothes.
Audience reacted instantly.
Disgusting, turn the camera away.
Is this a private show?
Want to be a secret account, such dirty idea.
Lie down.
So Phong said softly.
All right.
The girl lay on the bed, face buried in the sleeping bag.
Ah.
Van Han gasped, then shyly buried her face.
Do not suppress, it will hurt you.
So Phong smiled, pressed his fingers down her back. Van Han moaned vaguely. After more than 10 minutes, her back flushed red, sweat beaded. Outside, Lu Waimong hesitated. They were inside for long, should she enter? Lu Waimong, come help.
Lu Wai Thursday called by the brook. Coming. Lu Waimong replied, stepped carefully.
After 10 minutes, So Phong stopped, stood up, put clothes on her.
How do you feel? He asked. Relaxed, more comfortable. Van Han shyly answered.
Rest more, I will prepare dinner. So Phong said softly.
Let me cook, I am better now. Van Han insisted, not wanting him to cook. Do you feel bad? He patted her head. No, do not worry. Van Han smiled, dressed, took the iron pot downstairs.
At the brook, the sisters were busy, the hedgehog gutted.
Ah, a hedgehog? Van Han's eyes lit up. Yes, So Phong caught it. Lu Waimong smiled. How is your body now?
Lu Wai Thursday asked softly.
Much better.
Van Han smiled like a flower, her cheeks rosy.
Nothing serious, only a bit sore back.
Van Han blushed to explain.
Lu Waimong, gossip less. Lu Wai Thursday glared, wanting to cover her sister's mouth.
Lu Waimong stuck her tongue out, lowered head to handle the hedgehog.
After half an hour, under their work, the hedgehog was processed, one hind leg prepared for dinner, the rest salted and smoked for preservation.
She placed the leg on fire, flames burned the bristles, used a knife to scrape off and clean the smell of burn.
Chapter 477, Make a Screen.
Inside the wooden cabin, So Phong and the others sat around the table. On it were clay plates with roasted meat rolls and sliced hedgehog meat. Tonight they had a barbecue.
The taste is not bad.
Lu Waimong chewed the meat with satisfaction.
Better than pork. Lu Wai Thursday nodded.
Hedgehogs may share the word pig, but they are rodents, not much related.
So Phong explained casually.
She narrowed her eyes
books.
and sighed. So delicious.
Eat more, your body is still weak.
So Phong gave the girl who had not eaten well for 3 years another piece.
No, you eat too. Van Han waved quickly. Yes.
So Phong pointed at the clay bowl in front of him, filled with the pieces she had served him earlier, 7 or 8 in total. The Lu sisters watched the two interact, and suddenly the meat in their mouths no longer tasted so good. After half an hour, the 4 finished the hedgehog, leaving only empty bowls on the table.
Hoo-hoo.
Lu Wai Thursday crouched by the stream, using soap to wash the dishes.
She felt a cold drop on her neck. Drip, drip.
Rain began to fall, rippling the stream, the torch beside her nearly out.
It is raining?
She looked up, raindrops on her face. She quickly washed the dishes and hurried back to the cabin.
Inside, Phong stood by the window watching the rain. It really is raining.
Spring rains are long, who knows how many days?
Van Han whispered.
Good for planting herbs and greens, no need to water.
Phong smiled. Only that much good. Lu Wai Mong pouted.
Not only, after the rains, many wild vegetables and mushrooms grow, we can collect them.
Van Han smiled. Really? Lu Wai Mong was surprised. Read more books. Lu Wai Thursday scolded. He, now I know. Lu Wai Mong giggled.
Phong smiled, then gathered wood and sat down.
Make a screen,
he said, so the girls could change clothes without fear of the cameras.
Ah, good.
Lu Wai Mong's eyes lit. It was always troublesome to avoid the cameras.
Phong chopped wood into sticks about 1 meter in 70 or 80, tied them into a board with rope.
He added half-meter logs as feet, bound them, and used short sticks to connect, forming strong triangles. A simple screen was done. Still early, I will carve designs. He switched to a military knife, sat in front of the screen, carving carefully. Soon wood shavings covered the ground, a vivid peony appeared.
So amazing. Lu Wai Thursday praised.
Van Han's eyes sparkled. If the whole screen was full of flowers, it would be beautiful.
If you want, I will carve them all.
Phong spoiled her, continuing to carve.
After more than 10 minutes, another flower appeared. Phong, carve a chrysanthemum. Lu Wai Mong pleaded. Lu Wai Thursday twitched her mouth. No problem.
Phong smiled. After 20 minutes a vivid chrysanthemum was done. Now a violet, lily, morning glory. Lu Wai Mong listed flowers.
Too many, I cannot finish tonight.
Phong smiled wryly.
Then tomorrow.
Lu Wai Mong said regretfully.
Now wash and sleep.
Phong urged gently.
Okay.
The 3 girls answered. Outside it rained, they wiped with warm towels inside.
Ah.
Van Han sat up from her sleeping bag, dazed a while, then rose. She moved the clay stove, added dry grass and sticks, lit it with stones, placed a pot of water to boil.
With no stove yet, this was the only way. Still raining. She propped the window.
Outside the forest was misty, blurred.
So beautiful.
Van Han leaned on the sill, quietly admiring. After a while she put on a wide hat and boots, opened the door and went down. Under the cabin, rabbits and fawns hid from the rain. Seeing her they retreated further.
Van Han opened a hay bag, spread grass on the ground.
The rabbits and fawns hesitated, then stepped forward to eat.
Eat more, fatten up for the pot.
She smiled mischievously.
Chapter 478, Fainting from Fear?
Only when the rain pours will it rise up here. She whispered. The water surface was still high above the ground. Van Han stepped across the wooden bridge to the other side, checked the taro and nuts she planted yesterday, and felt relieved when they were safe from the rain. By the stream she washed her shoes, then climbed the ladder back home.
Sister Thursday, Sister Mong, what do you want for breakfast?
Van Han asked softly, lifting the iron pot of boiled water from the stove and pouring it into the clay pot on the table. That was their drink for the day.
Soybean dregs soup with meat, simple.
Lu Wai Mong stroked her short hair, walking to help. She remembered there were still 2 soybean dregs. They had to eat them before they spoiled.
All right.
Van Han fetched an empty pot, added more than half water, then put it on the stove.
Van Han, where is the soybean dregs?
Lu Wai Mong searched the shelf, but could not find them. Second tier, in a tied sack, inside.
Van Han answered without turning.
She took a military knife, cut a chunk of salted meat, ready to cook together.
This one? Lu Waimong chuckled. What's wrong?
Van Han turned in doubt. Lu Waimong held a sack with a hole, the soybean dregs inside half-eaten.
Ah.
Van Han widened her eyes, quickly dropped knife and meat, pulled the sack, untied it, poured the contents out.
The two remaining pieces were both gnawed. What happened?
So Phong frowned, slowly crawling out of his sleeping bag, awakened by the shout.
So Phong, look. Van Han pouted, holding the chewed pieces. Such strong teeth, eating without cooking? So Phong blurted. Ha ha ha. He laughed, seeing her glare.
Lu Waimong squinted at the bite marks. I suspect Ka Dan, look at these teeth marks.
Where is Ka Dan?
Van Han furiously searched.
Don't bother, it ran out the other night and hasn't returned.
So Phong said with a smile. He picked up the piece, examined it, and said, not Ka Dan.
Not him? Then who stole it?
The three girls were stunned.
Rats. NK books. So Phong tossed the ruined piece onto the table. Rats? You mean rats got into our cabin?
Van Han looked around nervously, feeling they might be under the bed, behind the door, or under the shelf. Lu Wai Thursday panicked, standing on a chair.
Thursday, are you afraid of rats? So Phong asked in surprise. Sister, stop lying, I remember once you fainted because of a rat.
Lu Waimong revealed mercilessly.
Really?
Van Han was surprised.
Lu Wai Thursday froze, gritted her teeth. Lu Waimong, do you want a beating? Oh no, I slipped my tongue.
Lu Waimong smiled awkwardly.
No, no.
She waved, but inside she laughed.
Is it true? Can a rat make someone faint?
I don't fear old rats, I fear cockroaches, especially southern ones, as big as 2 fingers, and they fly.
Yes, southern cockroaches are terrifying, I fear them too. Let's pity Lu Wai Thursday for 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, I can't hold back, ha ha ha. So Phong was amazed, someone really fainted from rats? Sister Thursday, why not afraid of Ka Dan or bamboo rats? Van Han asked. She only fears rats, other animals with rat in their name not. Lu Waimong answered first.
Lu Wai Thursday twitched, helpless at her sister's loose mouth. She stood on the chair, uneasy. If rats were really inside, she would not dare stay at night. So Phong bent to check under the bed and shelf, but found none. Come down, if rats were inside we would see already. He spoke gently, the cabin was small, hiding spots only under bed and shelf.
Rats likely came in from outside, ate and left. So Phong guessed. Lu Wai Thursday sighed, stepped down carefully, and wiped the chair.
Disgusting, 2 pieces ruined. Van Han said angrily, face full of pain.
Keep them as bait, not food.
So Phong sighed, wasting food was shameful, but chewed food carried saliva. Rats in the wild carry bacteria, parasites, their bites can spread diseases, like hemorrhagic fever, rat-borne plagues, all deadly. In the wilderness it was even riskier, better waste than eat. Pity, today. Breakfast will only be wild vegetable soup with meat. Van Han said with regret.
Chapter 479, The Mousetrap.
By the small stream behind the wooden house, everyone gathered around the table for breakfast. There was no soybean curd, so the girl replaced the soup with wild greens and meat, and it tasted just as good.
Ah, if only I had eaten the curd earlier.
Van Han chewed meat and recalled the half-piece gnawed by mice, feeling a pang.
All right, once I catch them I'll let you vent. So Phong smiled. We must catch them and fry them in oil.
Van Han grumbled. Then she shook her head. No, mice cannot be eaten, and frying wastes oil. Lu Wai Thursday twitched at the corner of her eye. If that were true she might not dare leave the wooden house for the remaining more than 200 days. No, Sister Thursday would not stand it. Van Han stifled a laugh. Then make a kite and send it to the sky, it is like burying them alive. Lu Meng suggested.
So Phong forced a bitter smile. Wait until I catch them and then we will decide. Yes, we must catch them. Van Han nodded. Rest assured, if they come again they will not escape. So Phong vowed. Van Han felt reassured and continued to eat. After more than 20 minutes the four finished breakfast and the rain prevented many tasks. So Phong fetched a bamboo pole from the shed and prepared a mousetrap, in fact a cage with a triggering mechanism. He recalled the plan, split the bamboo into slats and wove the cage. After more than half an hour a complete cage stood, much like the bamboo cage Godan used before. The gaps were only a finger wide, and when a mouse tripped the mechanism the door would snapshot with no escape. Next is the trigger. So Phong muttered. He carved a hook from a bamboo slat and fixed it deep inside the cage, then tied a fiber cord to the cage door and to another slat, threaded it through the gap, stretched it and hooked it in place. He set several bamboo slats to balance and placed the gnawed soybean curd as bait so the slat bore the load to its limit. When a mouse nibbled the curd the slat would fall, the cord would slacken and the cage door would close. Done. So Phong set down his knife and carefully placed the trap. It looks simple, will it catch mice? Lu Meng asked doubtfully. Wait and see. So Phong said confidently. Where was the curd kept? He asked softly. Van Han pointed to a wooden shelf. Here. Then put it there, the mice will know the path. So Phong cleared the area and set the trap. Little mouse, come here. Lu Meng hummed. Lu Thursday sighed inwardly, hoping no mouse would come to the door. What next? Van Han asked, bored. Build a stove so it will be convenient to cook and make fire. So Phong said, gathered leftover bamboo, put on his wide brim hat and carried a basket to fetch stones. Put your shoes on, he reminded. Okay. Van Han put on waterproof shoes. Thursday, Meng, make some mud mix, we will need it shortly. So Phong instructed. No problem. Lu Meng made an okay gesture and prepared cement with water and sand. So Phong waded into the stream and lifted stones from the riverbed. After more than 20 minutes the basket was full. Good. Van Han kept searching for stones. Coming and going 3 or 4 times, after more than an hour the stones in the house were enough to build the stove. So Phong, is the cement enough? Lu Meng asked. Enough. So Phong nodded. He sat where the chimney opening was and spread cement on the wooden wall as a first fireproof layer, then applied more cement and stacked stones to form a second protective layer. The stove would be about 1 meter long and roughly 80 centimeters wide and high, with 2 openings, ample for 4 people. N.K. Books. Meng, can you dig some clay? He asked. No problem. Lu Meng took a shovel. Lu Thursday put on her jacket and followed into the rain. So Phong continued stacking stones and the stove took shape. Soon the sisters returned with a basket of clay. Is it enough? Lu Meng panted. Enough, even extra. So Phong smiled. He smeared clay over the cement as a third fireproof layer that would harden, and after nearly an hour and a half the stove was finished. 2 openings, we can cook soup on one side and stir-fry on the other. Van Han said happily, admiring the new stove. Chapter 480, Becoming a Mahjong Partner. Cement and clay under the rain could not dry fast, so more time was needed. All right. Van Han smiled and nodded, then joined the Lu sisters to clear the extra stones, moving the cement and sticky soil into the wooden house, stacking them in the downstairs storehouse. After more than 10 minutes, the once messy hut was tidy again. I wonder what Sister Xingyu and Sister Wei Ding are doing now. Lu Meng murmured in front of the camera. Maybe they are looking at your big face. Lu Yizhu glanced at her sister, seeing her leaning closer and closer to the lens. Hee, I really miss them. Lu Meng turned around, her voice filled with longing. If nothing changes, in 264 days you will see them again.
Sua Feng said softly. Today was the 101st day in the wilderness. He had gained a permanent land grant, which he could improve into the finest manner with knowledge from the system.
Of course, that was only a distant thought. More than 200 days left, I hope it passes faster.
Louis Meng lay on the wooden table, mumbling. Perhaps. She looked lazy. The rain made people easily feel sluggish.
How is your martial practice going?
Sua Feng smiled and asked.
Ah.
Louis Meng sat up awkwardly, her gaze drifting. She had not practiced her horse stance for days.
And the archery?
Sua Feng continued.
Really? Sua Feng frowned and asked again. I will practice right now.
Determination shone in her black eyes as she stood up, picked the bow from the post, and began pulling it bit by bit. Sua Feng glanced at her, smiling silently, thinking this habit was bad, always needing a push. He drew out his utility knife and continued carving the unfinished flower on the screen.
Time flowed, the rain still pattered by dusk. Van Han stood by the window, worried. Sua Feng, with this rain, could there be flash floods?
Spring rains were light and dripping, draining through the forest to the sea before gathering into floods.
Only after many days of heavy rain, or when snow melted quickly, could floods form. Then it is fine.
Van Han was relieved, turning to prepare dinner with the iron pot. After half an hour, the four sat around the wooden table for dinner, the girls glancing at the rat trap on the rack.
Do not worry, we are inside the hut, rats will not come.
Sua Feng spoke gently.
All right. Van Han sighed, chewing meat, still remembering the hateful rats. Another half hour passed. After dinner they gathered to play chess. Every match against Sua Feng ended in defeat. Louis Meng rolled her black eyes, smiling. Sua Feng, let us play mahjong instead, I will teach you. Mahjong? Is it fun?
Sua Feng grew curious. He knew the game but had never played, nor knew the rules.
Of course it is fun, and we are four, enough for a table. Louis Meng smiled softly. She often played mahjong on her phone and was quite skilled. Is mahjong really so fun?
Van Han tilted her head curiously, recalling the landlord and aunties playing whenever she paid rent.
Just 2 rounds and you will see. Louis Meng patted the girl's shoulder, assuring she would not be disappointed.
It is easy to make a set, but if we want to play now we can only use bamboo tiles.
Sua Feng thought and said.
He stood up, found some bamboo, sawed it into short sections, then chopped into tiles, about 3 fingers wide and 7 to 8 centimeters tall. Because bamboo was round, the tiles were still curved, but could stand on the table.
How many tiles in mahjong? Sua Feng asked.
We play northern mahjong, 136 tiles.
Louis Meng replied. There are northern and southern versions? Van Han asked in surprise.
Mahjong originated in the land of gourmets, invented by ancients as a game for leisure. In the south it was also called sparrow. Normally the tiles were made of plastic, bamboo, bone, or stone.
So many details.
Van Han's eyes sparkled with interest. Hee, and mahjong is now a world-mine sport. Louis Meng said with a bright smile.
Then it is worth playing. Van Han exclaimed.
Van Han, you write the wind and arrow tiles, east, south, west, north.
Louis Meng assigned.
A complete set had 144 tiles, including character, flower, and number tiles. Flower tiles were only in the south, with plum, orchid, bamboo, chrysanthemum, spring, summer, autumn, winter, 8 tiles total. Character tiles included wind and arrow. Wind were east, south, west, north, 4 of each, 16 total. Arrow were center, fortune, white, for each, 12 total. Numbered tiles included 1 from 1 to 9, for each, 36 total, and tubes from 1 to 9, for each, 36 total, also called cakes.
All right. Van Han eagerly wrote with charcoal.
Sister, you write the wand tiles, I will handle the rest.
Louis Meng said clearly. All right.
Louis Zhu nodded, feeling mahjong was a good pastime in such rainy days.